I often say that automakers these days like to come out with these grand, flashy cars, packed with tech, packed with luxury, and then go out to the market and tell everyone how good and premium they are as an auto brand. But in my honest opinion, in today's day and age, an automaker should be judged by how well they can tick every box that an Australian buyer wants to have ticked at a price point that just about anyone can afford. I think that is a harder prospect for an automaker to achieve than just throwing everything they can in a car and chucking a $100,000 price tag on it. And I'm standing right in front of what I think is the pinnacle of that right now, the BYD Seagull. And it's available here in China for under $10,000 US. And there is a real possibility we might see it one day coming to Australia. Today, I'm going to have a bit of a drive of it and tell you what I think on this episode of Beyond EV, your home for everything BYD. Hi everyone, David here from Beyond EV, and today I'm here at Shenzhen, China with the BYD Seagull, the mini hatchback EV that has taken the world by storm. It has hit news headlines all around the world for being a full electric EV that can be bought here in China for under $10,000 US. One of these was even imported by the American consultancy firm CareSoft, who did a complete teardown of it so they could write up a report and provide that to American automakers so they too could figure out how to make a capable and safe EV that ticks all the boxes at a price point as low as what BYD can make one for. So I'm going to get the chance to get behind the wheel of one today and take a look around and see if it actually is the real deal. So without further ado, let's jump into it. The BYD Seagull is a mini compact 5-door hatchback that is available in a number of different variants, both for the Chinese domestic market as well as for international markets. Here in China, it's known as the BYD Seagull, but in Latin American markets, it's known as the BYD Dolphin Mini, and in Europe, it's known as the BYD Dolphin Surf. And you might not know, but there is a difference between the domestic Seagull and the Dolphin Surf available in Europe. The one in Europe is slightly bigger. And if a Seagull was to come to Australia, I would hazard a guess that that would be very close to the one that we would be getting. And with that in mind, what I'm probably going to do here is try and combine the specs between what's available in Europe and what's available in China to try and come up with a variant that would most likely come to Australia if it was to ever come here. In Europe, the BYD Seagull measures in at 3.99 meters long by 1.72 meters wide by 1.59 meters high. That makes it about 20 centimeters longer than the one here from China. But they both ride on the same wheelbase length, 2.5 meters. The European Seagull lists a curb weight of around 1,700 kilograms, give or take 20 to 30 kilograms depending on what variant you choose. The BYD Seagull we're testing here today is the Chinese domestic version, and all options here come with a 55 kilowatt front motor which provides 135 newton meters of torque, which doesn't sound like much, but as you'll see from the test drive later on, this thing is no slouch. But the BYD Dolphin Surf comes with an even more powerful powertrain option. In Europe, the Seagull comes with a 115 kilowatt motor, which provides 220 newton meters of torque. That option provides double the power and over 25% more torque. And the battery capacities are different in both the Chinese and European market as well. Here in China, you have the option of either a 30 kilowatt hour or 38 kilowatt hour battery. But in Europe, they get the option of a larger 43 kilowatt hour LFP blade battery. The two battery options in China, which list range on the CLTC scale, list a range of 305 or 405 kilometers. This is vastly different to what's being quoted on the European Seagull, and that one lists a range of 265 kilometers, and that's even with the larger 43 kilowatt hour LFP blade battery. Of course, the European range standard is a lot more realistic, so this, I would say, is probably the more realistic figure to go off. The charging speeds are different as well. In China, you have a max DC fast charging speed of 30 kilowatts, but in the European spec, you get a max DC fast charging speed of 85 kilowatts. And this will give you a 20% to 80% charging time of about 30 minutes. And as you can see, it's the differences in these specs between the international and the domestic version which is why I'm listing both. I personally believe if the Seagull was to come to Australia, we would likely get something closer to the European version, so I feel like it's important to list those specs, particularly the variants available in the UK, as that is a right-hand drive market, the same as here in Australia. So if BYD were to release a BYD Seagull here in Australia, they've pretty much got one there sitting on the shelf, ready to go. Stepping into the front row of the BYD Seagull, and you're met with a blue and black two-tone interior. But what catches my eye the most is the steering wheel, as it's the only BYD car I can think of that comes with a blue synthetic leather wrap on it. The steering wheel layout is similar to what you find on the BYD Seal, and the seats are actually a similar design as well, although it's synthetic leather. You've got a couple of buttons here on the dash, and there's a 15 kilowatt wireless charger just below it. And here you have the BYD signature rotating touchscreen. And let's remember, this car goes for under $10,000 US here in China. I think the infotainment system in this car would far exceed what anyone would actually expect at that price point. But that's it for the front row. Let's take a look at the back row. Stepping into the back row of the Seagull, and you're met with the same blue and black two-tone interior, and there is quite a lot of room back here. The seats have a nice recline to them. It's quite comfortable to sit in. There's quite a lot of headroom and leg room. You've got a little cubby here behind the center console and pockets on the backs of the front row seating, and the headrests are even adjustable. But this is only a 4-seater car. There is no fifth middle seat in the back row here, and something we might take for granted, but this actually comes with electric windows. That is something I definitely wouldn't expect on a $10,000 car. But let's go take a look at the boot now. Open up the boot to the Seagull, and you're met with 300 litres of boot capacity on this Chinese domestic model. But in Europe, the boot capacity is slightly bigger. It is slightly longer. You get 316 litres. This back row can fold down as one single piece by just manually pulling down on these straps, and that folds down to provide 900 litres of capacity in the back here on the Chinese model. But in the European Dolphin Surf, this actually provides 1,037 litres of capacity. It doesn't fold down flat. There is a slight lip here where the hinge is for the bench, but given the size of the car, 1,000 litres of capacity or close to it is quite a lot of room.
So I'm not sure if this is the base model car, but even if it is, this is a lot of car to get for the money. $10,000 US, even if this was $15,000 US, this is still a lot of car. 300 to 400 kilometers of range, CLTC. If you're buying a little city hatchback, how much more do you need? And the driving dynamics, I was expecting understeer and look, very little feedback in the steering wheel, but this drives great. And this is actually the same steering wheel I've got in my BYD Seagull, just a different cover lever on it. And you can even control the windows and such using the touchscreen. Look, I can open my driver's side window using the touchscreen. I don't even have to go down and fiddle around with the door buttons. I think BYD have hit the nail on the head and have just shown how good they are when it comes to automotive manufacturing. To be able to make a full battery EV of this quality with this many features in it for $10,000 US, for sale for $10,000 US, is absolutely astonishing.
So I'm back home now in Australia in my backyard finishing this one off because I forgot to film an outro while I was in China. But while I'm here, what do you think of the BYD Seagull? Is it something that you'd love to see here in Australia, or do you think it wouldn't do well here? Let me know down in the comments, and if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to BeyondEV for more BYD related videos. I've got plenty more headed your way. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.